And for more on what this result means for the country, I'm joined now by Professor Robert E. Kelly. He is an associate professor of international relations in the political science and diplomacy department of Pusan National University in Busan, Korea. Now, Professor Kelly, the unexpected gains of the opposition party, what does this say about what South Koreans really want from their government?
Yeah, it's a really big surprise, actually. If you looked at the polls 2 weeks ago, people were actually predicting the opposite. People were actually expecting a landslide for the right. A month ago, people thought it was going to be very big. People were talking about the right getting 200 seats and being able to sort of push through legislation with no opposition whatsoever. And then all of a sudden, sort of out of the blue, the left took majority. If you look at the scores of the combined left, it's close to 60% of the legislature is now in the hands of left-wing candidates and politicians. And yeah, I mean, the only way to read this at the moment, I think, is to say that a lot of young Koreans particularly really want the government to do things differently, particularly my guess is when it comes to inequality and domestic issues, where the president, Park Geun-hye, promised change, which he called economic democracy, and then didn't deliver.
Well, Professor, what changes can be expected now that the governing party has lost its parliamentary majority?
Sure, I think there are two big things, particularly on the right. First of all, the leader of the caucus leader on the right has stepped down, and so there'll be a big fight over who is going to succeed the president in the right-wing party in what the Americans will call the primary. The other big issue then is whether or not the president, Park Geun-hye, will become a lame duck quicker than usual. Normally, the South Korean president becomes something of a lame duck in the fifth year, but now after this huge blow, I'm wondering if she's going to get anything at all through the legislature in the next 8 months. I'm quite afraid you're actually going to see gridlock now, what they call divided government, where the legislature is controlled by one group and the executive by another, and nothing moves.
So you actually you don't have much hope of President Park retaining the presidency then?
Well, Park Geun-hye, of course, can't run a second time. I mean, she won't step down or something like that. The question is who will be her successor. And the guy who led the right-wing party in the election yesterday, you know, he had to step down because they were thrashed so badly. So now there's going to be an internal fight in the Senate party, the right-wing party, over who will be the next presidential candidate. That's unexpected. And the other thing is whether or not the left in the parliament will actually work with the president at all. I mean, I don't think they will. The relationship is quite poor, so you're going to have gridlock, my guess is, for another 18 months.
Right. Well, Professor, will the election results have an impact on relations between North and South Korea, considering the differing views out there on how to handle North Korea?
Yeah, on this, I'm not quite so sure. My sense is that the South Korean left, which has traditionally been sort of pro-engagement regarding North Korea and has thought that the Americans are too hawkish on North Korea, my sense is that the South Korean left has come around a little bit, that they're sort of moving towards the center on this, and that the left-wing sort of takeover of the parliament is not going to mean some major change on North Korea. North Korea's weapons program is it's so obviously so dangerous that I don't actually think the left is going to go back to sort of engagement or something like that. Possibly, but I don't see that. It's also one of the reasons why they're more electable. Right? When the left looked like it was pro-North Korean or whatever, it had a terrible time getting elected. Moderation has been important for its comeback.
So perhaps no change to the status quo on that front then. Well, thanks so much for your time today, Professor Kelly. And I was speaking to Professor Robert Kelly of Busan National University.